This is by far my favorite sneaker pickup of all time. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today guys, I'm reviewing the Air Jordan 1 Off-White. I can't believe I'm holding this shoe in my hand right now. Today's been one of the most exciting and crazy days of my entire sneaker YouTube career, and I still can't get over it. Basically today I was lucky enough to get a spot for the office hours meeting with VIRGIL Abloh at 23 Wall Street. The event that I was selected for was really crazy because basically I was selected to meet with VIRGIL Abloh one-on-one, talk about his sneakers, talk about design, all sorts of crazy stuff, and then, to my surprise, I was able to buy a pair of sneakers as well. So rather than tell you guys all the details about this event in this review video, I'll post a separate vlog with all that information and you guys can check it out there. First off, I've got to mention that the packaging for this sneaker is insane, so we have to go over that. But also the shopping bag the shoes came in. I mean, so here it is, the box for the Off-White Jordan 1s. This is a shoe that I really honestly never thought I was gonna get, let alone getting it like 2 months early and meeting the guy who created the shoe. So it's been an unbelievable experience, I've gotta say. But starting off with the outside of the box, you've got this really minimal cardboard construction. There are a couple details that let you know what's going on inside the box, like this hit of gloss that says Jumpman in quotation marks. On the front of the box, you've got Off-White in collaboration with Nike, and then Shoebox in quotation marks, and then of course Beaverton, Oregon, USA, all that sort of good stuff. The rest of the box is pretty plain. You've got some text on the bottom as usual, and then of course on one side of the box you've got the size tag. I'm usually a size 9, but the only size they had left was a size 8.5, and it still fits me, so I can't complain. Rather than the regular Air Jordan tag, they've got a clear size tag with all the information that you'd expect. The official name of the shoe is the 10 Air Jordan 1, and that refers to the fact that this is just one of the 10 Nike sneakers dropping in that collaboration. The official colorway is white, black, varsity red, and the suggested retail is $190 US, which is what I paid. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the awesome things about this collaboration is how well the shoe is packaged. I love the minimal look of the outside of the box, but opening up the box, the experience just gets even better. So when you first open the box, you're greeted with this awesome off-white paper. Now, the paper was originally wrapped around the entire shoe, but I've taken the shoe out and worn them already by this point, so it's not really wrapped up anymore, but you get a good idea of what's on the paper, which I think looks sick. Another interesting detail is that it looks like they've inverted the regular Air Jordan box, so on the inside of the box, it's all black with that gold Jumpman you usually see on the top of regular Jordan boxes. Now, getting this off-white paper out of the way, you're greeted with some regular, just white shoebox paper. I know I've been hyping these guys up and taking a long time to get to the shoe, but I really think these sneakers deserve it, to be honest. And then finally lifting off the paper, you've got the I should have done that a different way. And then finally lifting off the paper, you've got the Off-White Jordan 1. I can't get over how dope these shoes are, it's crazy. Besides the shoes themselves, you are greeted with 3 pairs of extra laces if you need them. You've got neon orange, neon green, and white. As you'll see later on in the review with the regular shoelaces, each one of these extra pairs of laces also has shoelaces in quotation marks written on either side of it. So without further ado, here they are, the Off-White Air Jordan 1. Starting off the sneaker, you'll notice that the base is a Chicago 1. Most of the red accents of the shoe are made up of leather with black stitching. Rather than use leather on the toe box, VIRGIL opted for a more fabric-y or foamy material. I can't really describe exactly what it's like. It really feels like a textile over some sort of foam. The foam is similar to the foam you find in a lot of Nike sneakers tongues. VIRGIL Abloh's whole idea behind creating the sneaker was deconstructing the Air Jordan 1 and the other sneakers in the collection, and you really start to notice that by the material usage and also the placement of certain elements of the shoe. Another interesting detail about the toe box is that it looks like they've used fuse overlay on either side to cover up some stitching. That gives the shoe a super unfinished and almost like prototype look, which I really dig. As you move back on the sneaker, you get to this piece of leather here, which is usually used for lace eyelets, but in this particular case, the laces actually run through eyelets underneath this flap. Continuing with the unfinished and deconstructed theme, this leather is really only one thin piece with a nice unfinished back, and then around the top of the flap where stitching would usually be, there's just stitching holes, which I think looks really cool. One of the most prominent details and distinguishing features of all the sneakers in the collection is the oversized offset stitched on swoosh. I love the way the swoosh looks. I think it's really cool that it overlaps this leather piece. I also really love the stitching accents on the front and the back of the swoosh in that blue color. I think they really make the swoosh pop. And of course at the back of the swoosh you'll notice this bright orange neon patch, which I think really adds to that sort of prototype feel. It almost looks like a piece of tape, like they're taping on the swoosh to find the best placement. I think that's such a cool detail. I went to college for industrial design, so I did a lot of prototyping of all sorts of things, and this just really brings me back to those sort of really grueling days in the studio where you'd spend spend 12 hours working on something and trying to find the right placement of some design element. This is just such a dope sneaker, guys. I can't get over it. On the mid panel of the shoe, again, instead of leather on the lateral side, they use that same textile and foam material. They also had that fuse overlay running right down the middle. Moving up the sneaker, you've got your black shoelaces with shoelaces in quotation marks written in white. That's one of the many eye-catching features on the shoe, and it's a design detail that he could have left out, but because he added it, it just adds that much more character to the sneaker. The tongue of the sneaker is made up of that nylon material you find on most Air Jordan 1s. However, rather than having a sewn and finished top, you've got this exposed foam. I know I'm gonna say this a million times in this video, but one of my favorite details is that he moved the Nike Air tag from the top of the tongue to the side. I think that placement is so dope, and just having that red stitching next to it really makes it pop. Inside the shoe, you'll find that black mesh material that you find on most Air Jordan 1s. However, again, the top is left unfinished and you see right through to the foam. There does seem to be a little less padding around the ankle area of the shoe, but it's not really noticeable when you're wearing the shoe on foot. Inside the sneaker, you'll realize that no stone was left unturned when it comes to the design details, because the insole of the shoe not only has the off-white branding, but if you look up to the top of the insole, instead of just a regular flat white insole, you've actually got this really interesting sort of diamond shape or pyramid shape texture on the midfoot of the insole, and that actually feels really good on your foot. It was something I was surprised by. I didn't even expect it until I put the shoe on, and I was like, whoa, what's that? That's not something I'm used to feeling. But hey, other than looking cool, it also kind of massages your foot, which I do not hate. As for fit, I'd say this fits like any other Air Jordan 1. For me, that's true to size. Like I said before, I could only get a size 8.5, but when you have the opportunity to meet the guy who designed this sneaker and get the sneaker a couple months early, you can't say no. So we're making it work. But honestly, half size down doesn't feel bad, so I'm not mad about it. Around the ankle of the shoe, you have another thin leather panel, which is unfinished on the back side. Again, there's another dope detail hidden underneath the flap with the 85, of course referencing the year that the Air Jordan 1 first released. And where you'd usually find leather on this black portion of the heel, instead of leather, Virgil used this sort of mesh or nylon material. One thing I really love about this sneaker is that the lateral side and the medial side are actually completely different. On the back half of the lateral side, it looks like rather than using finished leather, they used unfinished or the back side of leather. Also, the heel counter of the shoe is no longer leather. It's this sort of plasticky, almost like resin material. I'm actually not sure what it is, but it's got this sort of semi-gloss shine to it, which I really dig. Moving around to the medial side of the shoe, it looks like the material usage has gotten a little bit more conventional because they used regular white leather. You've got black stitching accenting the edges, and then you've also got these stitching holes where the Nike swoosh would regularly be. And then again, another dope detail of the shoe is this off-white for Nike branding on the side. I think that's so sick. It's the same branding you could find on the box. And I know I keep coming back to this, but it gives the shoe that sort of industrial look, which I think is so dope. Oh, and one last little detail that's not really upper but comes attached to the upper. It's this sort of orange zip tie or whatever this is. It comes looped onto the laces, and I noticed a lot of the employees at the event still had this on their sneakers when they were wearing their shoes, so I'm sure you can wear this if you want. I probably won't because I feel like it might scratch up the paint a little bit, but it's still a super cool touch. And if you guys were wondering, written on it in white is Off-White collaboration with Nike 2017, and then zip tie in quotation marks. My camera keeps focusing on Nas. It's pretty annoying. I should have worn a shirt without a face on it. Moving down the sneaker to the midsole, you've got this, I hate to say this, but off-white or sort of cream midsole. Of course, you've got Air written on the side of the sneaker in quotation marks. And the reason Virgil added this touch is because when he met with Nike, they told him that there was a Zoom Air unit in the midsole of the shoe, and he said, well, I can't see it. I should write Air on the side so people know what's going on. That, of course, was the design choice that just tied in really well with the rest of the aesthetic of the shoe, and I love it. Finally, rounding out the sneaker, you've probably got the simplest part of the entire sneaker, this solid red outsole. Overall, I'm in love with this sneaker. I think this is such an awesome collaboration. I know a lot of that's because I love the design process. I went through it myself, and I really love what he's trying to communicate with this sneaker. I also think the experience I had at that event was just super cool, and this just helps me remember that. And finally, I just think this is a dope looking sneaker. If you guys are interested in grabbing this sneaker or any of the other sneakers in the 10 collection, they will get a wider release in November, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Keep in mind, these sneakers will be crazy limited, so if you miss out on the initial release, you'll probably have to pay resale, and it's not gonna be good. So make sure to stay locked on Nike's social media and Off-White's social media for all the release details. Now that we've got the review out of the way, let's throw these guys on feet and see how they look. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know what you think of the Off-White Air Jordan 1 and if you're planning to try and grab a pair for yourself. Also, let me know what you think about the rest of the collection and which sneakers you plan on trying to cop. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Nike, Off-White, and Virgil Abloh for having me out. It was a crazy, crazy event. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to me, Seth Fowler, if you want to see more content just like this, and follow me on all other forms of social media. The links will be in the description below.